Hello, dear students. Welcome to Shri Jayendra Rank Zone classes. I am your friend and your mentor for the subject biology. I will be taking the zoology section. In the previous lectures, we have covered the basis of classification of kingdom Animalia. Right now, I am going to tell you about the classification of kingdom Animalia into different subparts or subkingdom, and then we will further discuss the very first phylum, phylum Porifera. I hope you are getting my voice. Okay, we'll start with the outline of kingdom Animalia. Okay, kingdom Animalia is basically it is divided into subkingdom 1 and subkingdom 2. Subkingdom 1 is Parazoa or Protozoa, which is having protistans. All protistans are included in it. Protista, right? Then we have subkingdom 2, that is Metazoa. Metazoa is further divided into branch 1, branch 2 and branch 3. We have branch 2, which is known as what? Parazoa. Parazoa includes poriferans. Poriferans are the cellular, they are having cellular grade of organization. Very good. Okay, means the parazoa, it includes basically the animals which are closely related to protozoans. See, protozoans, they are unicellular, and parazoans, they are multicellular. Okay, so what is the difference between protozoans and parazoans? Parazoans, they are multicellular, and protozoans, they are unicellular. Then we are having Eumetazoa. Eumetazoa is further converted into grade 1 and grade 2, that is grade A and grade B. Grade A basically involves radiata, means animals having radial symmetry. Radial symmetry. And grade B, bilateria, means bilateral symmetry, right? Okay, then the bilateral symmetrical organism, it includes protostomia and deuterostomia, and radiata, it includes what? Coelenterata and ctenophora. So basically radiata, it is having two phylums, Coelenterata and ctenophora. Coelenterata, it includes hydra, jellyfish, polyp, medusa. I'll tell you each and everything afterwards. Okay, when we will come into the phylum of Coelenterata, I will describe each and everything. Then grade B, which is bilateria, it involves protostomia and deuterostomia. Protostomia, they are having the mouth which develop first during the developmental stages, and in deuterostomia, the anus develop first in comparison to mouth. Now protostomia, it includes acoelomate, pseudocoelomate and schizocoelomate. Means schizocoelomate and enterocoelomate, they are the parts of coelomate. Okay, right? True body cavity. True body cavity, right? So the protostomia, it includes acoelomate. Acoelomate includes platyhelminthes, means flatworms, and pseudocoelomate, it includes nematoda, means roundworms. Then schizocoelomate includes annelida, orthopoda and mollusca. So schizocoelom means A square M, it's A square M, that is annelida, orthopoda and mollusca. Pseudocoelomate, nematoda, means roundworms. Acoelomate means platyhelminthes. Okay, then subdivision enterocoelom, it includes echinodermata, hemichordata, and chordata. Okay, so this is the actual brief, classification regarding kingdom Animalia. Each and every parts, subcategories are included in it. So if the question comes that which category of kingdom Animalia is having chordata, means chordata, they belongs to enterocoelom, means they are coelomate, or they are having deuterostomia, means anus develop first, or they are bilateral symmetrical, or they are eumetazoa. Which phylum is included under the family of Parazoa? Phylum Porifera. Which phylum is included in the category of Schizocoelom? Annelida, Orthopoda, and Mollusca. A square M. Okay. So these are the further descriptions. Now, moving to the next slide. This is actual the classification, same we have discussed. Okay. So I'll not actually going to describe it because we have already discussed it, okay, in very detail. Now we are going to start with phylum Porifera. Phylum Porifera, or we can, they are also known as the pore bearing organisms. So they are also known as pore bearing organisms. So they have pore on their whole body surface, means they have generalized pores on their body surface. So they are known as pore bearing organisms, right? Okay, and commonly known as sponges. They are known as what? Sponges, because they are very soft. Why they are soft? Because having numerous pores on their body surface, the air gets entrapped in these pores, and they basically actually helps the tissues to slide over each other. Okay, that's why they are very soft, means sponges. Okay, parazoology is the study of sponges. Okay, parazoology is the study of organisms, right? Then we have mostly all sponges, they are aquatic, means they are water driven, and that too they are basically having a habitat in their salty water, means marine driven, except spongilla, which is fresh water. Mostly all poriferans, they are sessile. Sessile means they are free. Okay, they can move wherever they want to. They can live their whole life alone, means solitary, or they can live their whole life in a form of colonies. Okay, spongilla, right? So these are some common characteristics of phylum Porifera. First, they are having pores on their whole body surface. That's why they are known as what? Sponges. Parazoology is known as what? Study of sponges. Almost all of them, they are water driven, and maximum they are marine driven, means they live in sea water, salty water, except spongilla, which is a fresh water sponge. Mostly they are sessile, means free living. They can live their whole life alone, means solitary, or with making colonies with someone. Okay, that's why they are further classified into these two categories, solitary and colonial. Then coming to next, they have generalized pores on the body. The pores are known as what? Ostia. The pores are known as what? Ostia. Small pores. I'll make a small diagram to make you understand. This is a opening. The opening is actually having the circular muscle layer. Okay, these circular muscles layers are actually laden by mesocytic cells or mesocytes. Okay, the osculum means the mouth. The mouth is actually not completely developed, but it is having a circular muscle layer, right? So am I clear? Okay, now Now these sponges, they have generalized body pores on their surface. These pores are known as what? Ostia. The pores are known as what? Ostia. Ostia is the site of entry of water and nutrients, right? Am I clear? Okay. So generalized body pores, which are known as what? Ostia, and they have only one opening, which is known as what? Osculum. This is osculum. Osculum, it acts as both mouth and anus. The two things you have to remember: the ostia, which is the generalized body pores on their whole surface, and the osculum, which is single and which act as both mouth and anus. Now coming to next, mostly they are asymmetrical. Poriferans, they are asymmetrical, means they don't have any symmetry. They don't have any symmetry. Body cannot be cut into equal halves along multiple planes or along one plane, except Sycon. Sycon and Leucosolonia, they are radially symmetrical. So you have to remember the exceptions. Sycon and Leucosolania are radially symmetrical. Rest all of them are asymmetrical. Sycon and Leucosolania is radially symmetrical. Then coming to next, they are acoelomate, means they don't have any coelom, and they have cellular grade of organization. The whole body is made up of cells. There are no tissues, no organs, and there is no body cavity. There is no body cavity. The outer layer of sponges, if I'll show you with the help of diagram, the outer layer of the sponges is basically having pinacoderm, and the inner layer is having coenoderm. Outer layer is pinacoderm and the inner layer is coenoderm. Outer layer pinacoderm, inner layer coenoderm. Okay. Now pinacoderm, it basically consists of pinacocytes, which are flat cells, and porocytes, which are oval cells, right? So pinacoderm, it basically consists of pinacocytes, which are flat shaped cells, and porocytes, which are oval cells. Okay, pinacocytes, they are flat cells like this, and porocytes, they are oval cells like this. Okay, poro, pinaco. Okay, poro, pinaco. Okay, pinaco means flat cells and poro means oval cells. Then we have coenoderm. Coenoderm is the inner lining. Okay, the inner lining is actually having the flagellated cells, which are known as what? Coenocytes. These flagellated cells actually lined up the inner inner lining or the inner part of the sponges, and it is the coenoderm which actually lines the so-called cavity of sponges, which is known as what? Spongocele. Okay, so-called cavity of the sponges, which is known as what? Spongocele. Actually, it is not a body cavity. It is just a passage to help the flow of water and the nutrients through it, right? So we are having two layers. The first layer is what? Pinacoderm, and the second layer, the innermost layer, is coenoderm. The outermost is pinacoderm and the innermost is coenoderm. Then we have a layer of mesenchyme. Mesenchyme is a non-cellular layer which is jelly-like substance, and this jelly-like substance contains the amoebocyte cells which are having amoeboid movement, means making pseudopodia, and these cells are derived from both pinacoderm and coenoderms, right? So mesenchymal cells, they have a layer which basically connects or helps in the cementation of pinacoderm and coenoderm. Okay, pinacoderm you just resemble or you can just compare to the ectoderm, and coinoderm you can just compare to the endoderm. Okay, so these mesenchymal cells, they have amoebocytic cells or amoebocytes, right? Then most importantly, amoebocytes, they are further classified into many categories. I'll tell you each and every one and the function of them as well. Okay, then scleroblast are the cells which actually secrete skeletal elements. Skeletal elements means skeletal fibers which actually provide supports to the structure of sponges. These skeletal fibers are either made up of calcium carbonate or they are made up of calcium silicate, right? That's why they are known as what? Calcareous and siliceous, right? So we have the pinacoderm, which is the outer layer, coinoderm, which is the inner layer. Both the layers are having a cementing material which is non-cellular layer. It is a jelly-like layer which is known as what? Mesenchyme or mesohyl layer. The mesenchyme basically contains amoebocytes, and amoebocytes are further classified or modified into different categories of cells. One of them are scleroblast and archaeocytes. Scleroblast, they actually secretes the different types of skeletal fibers, whether they are made up of calcium carbonate, whether they are made up of calcium silicate, or whether they are made up of sponges. So basically on the basis of different types of skeletal elements, the sponges are further classified into these three categories. Okay, then we have archaeocytes. Archaeocytes are totipotent cells. Totipotent cells means they can actually change or they can acquire shape of any of the cells according to the requirement. And these totipotent cells or archaeocytes, they help in the formation of ova and spermatozoa, which actually helps in the sexual reproduction of phylum Poriferans. Okay, so these are some common general characteristics which actually you have to consider about phylum Porifera. So I hope everything is clear. Okay, just you have to remember that phylum Porifera, just keep on the fingertips. Phylum Porifera, they are known as sponges. They have pores on their body. The pores are known as what? Ostium. They have a single opening which is known as what? Osculum. Osculum is the mouth, which actually helps as both mouth and anus. No. Now coming to next, poriferans, they are almost asymmetrical. Some of them are radially symmetrical. Okay, they almost are aquatic, means they live in water, either fresh water or marine water. Fresh water, only one example you are having, Spongula, and marine water, all of them. Means they are free living, they are motile, they are sessile, means they can go wherever they want. Okay, and they can live their life alone, like in a form of solitary phase or in the form of colony. Okay, so they are acoelomate. Next point, they are acoelomate means they don't have any coelom and they have cellular grade of organization. They are having two layers. The outermost layer is pinacoderm and the inner layer is coinoderm. Pinacoderm basically helps to form pinacocytes and porocytes. Pinacocytes are flat cells and porocytes are oval cells. Okay, then we come to the inner lining, is known as what? Coinocytes. Coinocytes or coinoderm, they are flagellated cells which actually beat and they, because of their beating, they actually try to attract the nutrients, water and each and every thing. Okay, the coinocytes, they make the internal lining of the spongiostele, which is known as what? Cavity. The scleroblasts, they are the skeletal element secreting substances or fibers. They can secrete spongin, they can secrete calcareous means the tubules which are made up of calcium carbonate, and they can also secrete the calcium silicate tubules, right? Then we are having archaeocytes, which is totipotent, means jack of all trades. The totipotent cell can want to change into sperm, it can change into ovum as well. So these are archaeocytes. So I hope is everything clear. Thank you. We'll move to the next topic. This is the longitudinal section of sponge showing details of body wall. I'll help you to actually visualize it. The outer layer, these are spicules. 'Spicules. 'Spicules' Spicules are of many types. Okay, the inner layer poenocytes, you can see poenocytes, flagellated cells, these flagella. Then in between the outer layer and the inner layer we are having yellowish covering, that is mesohyoid mesenchyme. Then you can see this structure. This structure is a triaxon spicule. Okay, and we have generalized body surface pores. These are the pores, you can see pores through which water or the flow of water gets enter into it. The moment it passes through the ostia, it comes inside and it have to pass the incurrent canals. Incurrent canals means the canals which are actually distributed inside the cavity. This whole cavity is known as what? Spongocoele or paragastric cavity. Okay, then you can see the outer layer and the inner layer. Inner layer they are colloid cells and the outer layer is what? Pinnacoderm. The pinnacoderm is divided into two parts, porocytes and pinacocytes. Pinacocytes are flat cells and porocytes are oval cells, right? Okay. So these are pores created by porocytes. So you can see these are porocytes, oval cells, right? Then we have amoebocytes, which are actually having the amoeboid movement, means making of pseudopodia. Okay. Then we have spongocoele, the cavity, and then we have the poenocytes, which are collar shaped cells. Okay. Now coming to the next, we are having description of different cells. Coenocytes, collar cells, they are flagellum. Pinacocyte, they are flat shaped cells. Okay, means they forms the outer covering of sponges. Then we have porocytes, which are cylindrical and they have pore in between. These porocytes helps to maintain the flow of water along with nutrients from ostium inside it. Means these porocytes actually helps to form ostium, right? Then we have spicules, monoaxon, triaxon, tetraxon. Monoaxon means they have only one extremity, like this. Then triaxon means they are like a triangle, triaxon, and others, right? Then the amoebocytes are further classified accordingly depending upon the condition. Archaeocytes, they are totipotent. They can actually occupy the shape of any, means they help in regeneration, they helps in nutrition as well. For nutrition we are having specialized cells which are known as what? Trophocytes, which are also known as nurse cells. Okay. Then we have sclerocytes to secrete spicules, spongocytes to secrete spongin fibers, colonocytes to secrete collagen fibers, and lymphocytes which are highly mobile. Okay. Then you have to remember actually spongioblast or spongocytes which actually secrete spongin fibers, colonocytes which secrete collagen, sclerocytes which secrete spicules, and archaeocytes which are totipotent. They can occupy the shape of any other things required. So here we have actually shown you the flow of water. The flow of water is like this. It enters through ostia to incurrent canals. From incurrent canals, it actually enters the spongocoele. From spongocoele, it enters the excurrent canals, and from oscula and outside of body. Is it understood? Okay, so this is the flow of actually water, the water current which actually moves from ostia to incurrent canal, spongocoele, excurrent canals, osculum, and outside of the body. Okay. Then we have the osculum, which is surrounded by myocytes, the circular layer I have already told you. Okay. Gelatinous mesoglia. Ectoderm and endoderm, they are actually packed with a layer which is known as what? Mesoglia. This is ectoderm, this is endoderm. They are having a cementing material which is what? Mesoglia. Okay. Then I hope it's very clear the diagram, different types of cells. We will discuss in detail in the next slide. Yeah. Archaeocytes, they are totipotent. Archaeocytes means totipotent. Trophocytes, nerve cells, I have already told you. Trophocytes, nerve cells. Then thesocytes, they actually store food granules, means they actually help to store food. Food keepers. Then we have gland cells, which are having the function of secretion of slime, which actually reduces the friction and helps in the efficiency of work. Then colonocytes, they secrete spongin fibers. Okay, colonocytes, they actually secrete spongin fibers, or better to say collagen fibers. Then we have myocytes, they form circular ring-like structure around the osculum, which can actually contract and relax the oral cavity or the mouth of the phylum poriferans, means the mouth of the body. Okay. Then we have chromocytes, which are having different pigments in it, and also they are regulated or attached with, or they are concerned with the secretion of excretory substances. Then we have phagocytic cells, or the phagocytes, which actually collect food from coinocytes. They collect food from coinocytes. So these different cells, which are the modification of the amoebocytes, archaeocytes, trophocytes, thesocytes, myocytes, melanocytes, gland cells, chromocytes, and phagocytes. Okay. So is it clear? Now coming to next, these are the different cells. Okay, which are shown to you. This is porocyte, which is cylindrical, myocyte, spindle shaped myocyte. Then pinacocyte, which is flattened pinacocyte. Then we have glandular cells, which are having glands, scleroblast, which creates spicules, trophocyte, nerve cells. Then melanocyte, collagen fibers, phagocyte, phagocytes, means who performs phagocytosis or mean engulfing of food. Okay. Then thesocytes, storing of food granules, food particles, coinocytes, collar cells, and the chromocytes or the pigment cells. Okay. So these were the brief classification and the distribution of different cells. Now coming to next, this is the most important topic when we concern or when we read about the phylum Porifera, that is canal system or the water transport system. What is canal system? There are three major types of canals: syconoid type, or which is present in Sycon, ascenoid type, which is present in Leucosolonia, and leuconoid type, which is present in Spongilla. So there are three major canal systems of the water transport system. One is syconoid type, which is present in the Sycon, ascenoid type, which is present in the Leucosolonia, and the leuconoid type, which is present in the Spongilla. The most important thing is the ascenoid type is the most simplest, and the leuconoid type is the most complex form of water canal system. Okay, is that understood? Yeah. Children, can you just note it down? Syconoid type, it is present in Ascon. Okay, not Sycon. You just rectify it. It is Ascon. Syconoid type. it is present in Ascon. Okay, yeah, leuconoid type spongilla, and the ascenoid type in Leucosolenia. So ascenoid type is the most simplest form of water canal system, and leuconoid type is the most complex form of the water transport system or the canal system. There is one important modification in case of Desmospongia. Desmospongia is a class of sponges. It is a classification of sponge in which a larvae, which is known as what, Ragon larvae, which actually is converted into a water canal system, and that is why this canal system is derived from larvae. That is why it is known as what, Ragon type. So actually we are having three major types: the Sycon, the Ascon, and the leuconoid type. Okay, is that understood? The axonoid type is the most simplest, then we have the ascenoid type is the most simplest, then we have syconoid, which is moderate, and then we have the leuconoid type. Okay, then the most important term is spongocoel. Spongocoel is the paragastric cavity. This paragastric cavity, it is a part through which the water current flows. Now water, it actually brings along with its different nutrient substances. Okay, different nutrient substances means the food materials, and along with it, it also helps in exchange of gases. Okay, so if somebody asks that what are the different types of canal system, then just make it in your tips: Syconoid type, which is present in Ascon; ascenoid type, which is present in Leucosolenia; and the leuconoid type, which is present in Spongilla. Okay, is that understood? And then spongocoel, what is the other name of spongocoel? Paragastric cavity. Okay, which is lined by coinocytes. The inner lining of spongocoel, or the paragastric cavity, is done by coinocytes. This diagram is of Ascon type. This is of Leucon type, and this is of Sycon type. Okay. Now the water comes through ostia, enters through the incurrent canals, then spongocoel, then excurrent canals. Through osculum it comes outside. Okay, so every type of canal system is having its own importance, right, and its own characteristic. Okay, so we don't actually have to go into the deep. So these are different types of canal systems of the water transport system you have to remember. Now coming to next, nutrition in case of podiferans is holozoic. Holozoic means intracellular nutrition. As it is having only cellular grade of organization, there is no amaze in believing that they have intracellular mode of digestion. Okay, so nutrition is holozoic, means intracellular mode of digestion. The intracellular mode of digestion actually is being conveyed with the help of food vacuoles they are having. So food vacuoles of coinocytes, they are having flagella, and this flagella is under the process of ceaseless movement, mean without stop it moves, and because of this it basically create a wave of high pressure and low pressure. So to basically meet out the difference between these two pressures, the water comes in and goes out through the osculum. Okay, so nutrition is holozoic and intracellular, and it occurs through the food vacuoles of coinocytes. Then skeletal system is internal. No exoskeleton is present. No exoskeleton. You can write also no exoskeleton. Only internal skeleton is present, right? And the internal skeleton is present, consists of calcareous, means calcium carbonate, Siliceous means calcium silicate. Spicules. Or made up of spongin fibers. So spongin fibers secreted by spongioblast of mesenchymal cells. You can see the mesenchymal cells is actually the point of generation of all these cells, whether we talk about amoeboblast, whether we talk about trophocytes, thesiocytes, archaeocytes, everything. Okay, so the outer layer pinacoderm and the inner layer coenoderm, and in between the mesenchymal layer, which actually give rise to different types of cells. Why? Because the mesenchymal cells are, or mesenchyme is an undifferentiated form of cells. It is not matured, it is having a high rate of division, it can be converted into any form, right? So now coming to next, scleroblast, which secrete spicules, and spongioblast, which secrete spongin fibers. Respiration is through the diffusion, generalized diffusion through body surface, and excretory waste is ammonia, as they are water soluble. Ammonia is water soluble and they are aquatic, that's why they secrete ammonia. Reproduction is both asexual and sexual. Okay. Now, if the reproduction is asexual, then it can be conveyed with the help of fragmentation, okay, budding, or gemule formation. Gemule formation takes place in unfavorable condition, and these gemules actually helps to make ova and sperm, because they have archaeocytes, and archaeocytes, you know, they are totipotent cells. Archaeocytes, they are totipotent, so they can be converted into ova and sperm. Okay, so gemules, they are having the archaeocytes, which are having capacity to divide and be converted into any of the form ova or sperm, right? So reproduction is done by both asexual and sexual means. Asexual means budding, fragmentation, and gemule formation, and sexual means with the help of ova and sperm. Okay, sponges, they are hermaphrodite, means they are bisexual, both the sexes they are present on one body, means their fertilization will be internal, because there is no need to send sperms outside of the body, right? And their fertilization can be cross as well. Okay, see, as you have learned in cross fertilization, self fertilization. Okay, cross fertilization due to protogynous condition. Protogynous condition means pro means first, primitive, and gyno or gynos means the reproductive system of female. So the reproductive system of female is actually developing prior than the development of the male reproductive system, and that is why they have to actually, you know, they are maturing at different times, and that is why the fertilization can be cross. Okay, development is indirect because the larval stage is present, but even then the development is indirect because the larva doesn't resembles to the adult. The larval stage is independent. And that is why development is considered to be indirect. Okay. The zygote undergoes holoblastic cleavage. I will tell you afterwards different types of cleavage and different types of eggs. Okay. So zygote actually undergoes the holoblastic cleavage. Holoblastic means all divisions. Okay. It is divided into complete. Okay. Now, there are two larvae which are free, or they can swim anywhere wherever they want. These larvae are Amphiblastula and Parenchyma. Amphiblastula is basically the part or present in Cycon, and Parenchyma is present in Leucosolania. So just you have to remember, Amphiblastula, it is seen or it is a part of Cycon, and Parenchyma, it is a part of Leucosolania. Both of them are free swimming or free living. They are motile and they can move wherever they want. So these are the different points. First, nutrition is holozoic. It is intracellular because of the food vacuoles of coenocytes. The skeleton is internal. Internal. No exoskeleton is present. And skeleton is basically made up of three different parts, either calcareous spicules or siliceous spicules or spongin fibers. All these fibers, they are present in mesenchyme and they are secreted accordingly. Okay. Then scleroblast, they secrete spicules. Spongioblast, they secrete spongin fibers. Respiration is through the generalized diffusion of body surface. Reproduction both asexual, sexual, asexual, budding and fragmentation and gemule formation, and sexual through the formation of ova and sperm with the help of archaeocytes. They are hermaphrodite, means bisexual. That's why their fertilization is internal. And cross, why cross? Because the female reproductive system develops first, or the female organs develop first in comparison to the males. Development is direct, development is indirect, because it is having a larval stage which doesn't resemble the parents, and that is why the larval stage is indistinct. Okay, it is not matching. Okay, that is why there are two larvae, amphiblastula and parenchyma, and they don't have to worry to form adult. Okay, they don't need to form adult, they don't worry to form adult, and that is why they are known as what? Free living independent larvae. Okay, amphiblastula cycon and parenchyma leucosolenia. Okay, is it understood? I have posted a picture of a gemule formation in which you can see the spicules outerwards and the innermost layer is archaeocytes. Okay, then coming to next, we are having classification of sponges. This is the last part. Finally, we are on the trail. Skeleton. The type of skeleton basically classify the sponges into three different categories: Calcarea, Hexatinellida, and Desmospongia. Hexa means 6. Okay. Calcarea means, calcareous means the skeleton is made up of calcium carbonate. Hexatinellida means there are 6 rays like this. Six rays in different directions. Okay, and these rays are made up of siliceous spicules, means calcium silicate. Okay, Desmospongia, they have 1 to 4 rayed, either siliceous or mostly they are indistinct because of presence of spongin fibers. Right? So Calcarea, calcareous means calcium carbonate. Hexatinellida, siliceous, 6 radiating spicules like a starfish, and Desmospongia, they are made up of spongin fibers or 1 to 4 rayed siliceous spicules. Then habitat, Calcarea, all marine means water, aquatic, and that too shallow water. Shallow water. All marine, deep sea water. They live in deep sea water. Okay. Desmospongia, they are either marine, not confirmed whether they are deep sea or a shallow sea, and they can be fresh water. Right. Then example, Calcarea, Leucosolenia. Leucosolenia, it is the smallest sponge. Okay. Scypha. Scypha is known as what? Cycon or urn sponge. Urn sponge. URN. Urn sponge. Hexatinellida, it is having Eupalectilla as a Venus flower basket. Venus flower basket is considered as a bridal gift in Japan. It is offered as a bridal gift in Japan. Okay, Eupalectilla. Okay, then Hyloneema. Hyloneema is glass rope sponge. Okay, it is almost transparent. Why transparent? Because it is having siliceous spicules, calcium silicate, and you know actually glass is made up of silica, SiO2 only. That is why, because of the refractive index, it matches with the glass. Hyloneema is considered as a glass rope sponge. Eupalectilla, Venus flower basket. One most important thing is, you know about commensalism? Commensalism is a type of interaction between two species in which one species benefited, means plus, and the other species remains neutral. Neutral means neither benefited nor having side effects. So commensalism, it is having this type of relationship in which, suppose there are two persons A and B. A is giving benefit to B, okay, but B is neither benefiting A or neither giving any damage to A. Okay, so this is commensalism. So Commensalism, the example is Pongicola. Shrimps. Shrimps, they live in the surface or in between the cavities of Eupalectella or Hyloneema, means the sponges of Hexadillida family, and they are under the category of commensalism. Okay. So shrimps means they are crustaceans. Crustaceans means insects actually, orthopodals. Crustaceans. Like prawns, okay. Okay. So crustaceans, shrimps, they live under the category of commensalism, means they actually are not helpful to the sponges, but sponges, they are helping them to provide shelter. Okay. Then we have Euspongia, which is known as what? Bath sponge, okay, which is actually taken or named bath sponge. Why? Because it is actually used as an abrasive. Okay, it is used as an abrasive to rub the dust or dirt out from the skin. Okay. Then we have Spongilla, which is a freshwater sponge, and the Clinola, which is known as what? Boring sponge. Boring sponge, it can be harmful to the pearl oyster family. Okay. So these are different categories, and the names, children, very importantly you have to remember the names: Eupalectella, Venus flower basket; Hyloneema, glass robe sponge; then Euspongia, bath sponge; Cliona, boring sponge; Spongilla, freshwater sponge; and Scypha, on sponge. So I hope I made myself very clear. Even then, if you are having any doubts, your doubts are most welcome. Till then, bye bye. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. Stay blessed. I will meet on the next turn with the very mesmerizing videos on the chapter Animal Kingdom. Bye bye. Take care.